Hello and welcome. Welcome to today's webinar. Thank you for joining. It's a pleasure to have you here. You can see from your screen that we're going to be learning all about this upcoming program here at Cambridge Judge Business School Executive Education. This program is entitled Digital Disruption, Digital Transformation Strategies, and we're going to learn all about the trends, business models, and strategies to help your organization thrive. So that is what this program is aimed to do, and here to tell us all about it, we have one of our two program faculty who is going to tell us all about the curriculum. They're here with us today to describe the arc of learning throughout this program and some of those key takeaways that you can expect. We're also going to talk about the learning experience, how you will learn. So a lot in store. Stay tuned for more information about this program, the curriculum, the content, and as well as dates and upcoming enrollment and registration dates. So a lot in store here throughout the session. Thank you all for joining. The two program faculty here who have designed this program are firstly Professor Shaz Ansari. He's the subject group head for strategy and innovation, professor of strategy and innovation, and the director of the MPhil in Innovation Strategy and Organization program at the University of Cambridge Judge Business School. He's also a professorial fellow of St. Edmund's College. He is joined here in this program designed by Dr. Kamal Munir, who is a professor of strategy and policy. He's also the academic director for the Center for Strategic Philanthropy and the pro-vice chancellor at the University Community and Engagement, as well as a professorial fellow for Almerton College. So that's a lot to say here. I'll let our professor speak for himself here as he joins into the session to tell us more about his background, sort of what brings him to this program. But before we hand over the spotlight to Professor Ansari, we did want to introduce you to this broader ecosystem, this broader community that you're joining here. So firstly, I want to pause and take a moment to welcome each and every one of you to this global community of over 250,000 learners reaching all different areas across the globe. This program brings together, as you can see here on your screen, innovators, creative thinkers, thoughtful and collaborative problem solvers, current and future leaders, drawn, of course, from a huge diversity of backgrounds and countries. So welcome to all of you. Welcome to this community. Here at Cambridge Judge, the mission that really drives this program, as well as other programs here at the business school, is advancing knowledge and leadership through people who leave a mark on the world. So that's the key component there. Programs here that allow you to have a transformative experience and that firsthand impact as you learn. And so that's what this program allows you to do. It's a high impact, transformative educational experience where you're really going to be challenged to roll up your sleeves and learn as you go and engage in the content in an interactive way. So this is a highly engaging program, one that is really deep skills building. It's going to challenge you to really do the work to build the skills as you make your way through the content. So very happy here to hand the spotlight to our program faculty to tell us more about the overarching key framework that really drives the framework of this program. So we're going to learn here from our professor, but many of you are here today with questions about the logistics of the program. When does the program begin? And what are some of those sort of tactical components you can expect in the day-to-day learning experience? So before we hand it over to learn more about the program content, we want to set the stage for you and tell you a little bit more about that daily learning experience. What is it like to be a participant here in the program? So here's how this works. This program contains a set of modules here. These are 8 modules. And they begin with what we call week 0 or module 0, and this is orientation week. So at the beginning of each week, a set of content will be released, and it begins with a sort of orientation content. This will allow you to get to know your colleagues, build your profile in the platform, get to know the learning platform. You'll be able to dive into that course syllabus, learn everything you need to know to get prepared to begin that intensive 8-week learning journey. So you'll, get everything you need in that orientation week, and then we'll start the following week with week one. And with week one, you'll get a set of content released, and you and your colleagues here in the program will have that entire 7 days to make your way through that content. And the way that that works is the content is a blend of synchronous and asynchronous material, meaning that you'll be able to design a schedule that works for you. So within that week, you can take part in all of those activities and learnings within that module around a schedule that works for you. There are also synchronous components, live office hours, live faculty webinars that will give you that chance to really engage in deep learning, deep discussions with your peers and teaching team. So you have that nice blend of both. That asynchronous learning where you're really the driver of your own learning experience. You're watching those on-demand videos and taking part in some of those activities and assignments and discussions. And then you're also coming into those live synchronous learning sessions where you have an opportunity to engage in real-time learning and really customize the learning around your interest. So there's a lot of opportunity within that week as you make your way through these concepts from week to week. So as described, some of the components here are live webinars, there are question and answer sessions, office hours. You have a program support team that includes not only your faculty here, as well as your peers, but you also have course leaders. These are industry experts who have been hand selected to come into this program and serve as your teaching fellows or your teaching guides, really guiding that day-to-day learning, helping you to get that individualized feedback on all of your assignments, hosting office hours, and giving you those resources that you need and want as you make your way through the material. You also have 24/7 tech support. So if anything goes wrong or you need help at all, you'll have that access to that 24/7 support, many, many different layers of relationships and support throughout this program, from yourself as an individual learner to your peers, to your course leader team, to your faculty, this broader community at Cambridge Judge, and of course that 24/7 program support team. They're helping to guide and steer all of it together. You will have access to this program not only for that, those 9 weeks, that sort of week 0 and those 8 modules, but you're also going to have access to this program for the entire subsequent calendar year. So you'll be able to go back in after this intensive learning journey here and continue to derive benefit from some of the videos and discussions. You'll continue to be able to network and to discuss your learnings with your colleagues. So you'll have that entire calendar year to extend your learning beyond the reach of the program and continue to share your knowledge across with your colleagues. So there's a lot in store here for this program at Digital Disruption. Very happy to tell each and every one of you more here about this program. Many of you know already this program does culminate in a chance for you to earn a certificate of completion. This here is a professional certificate that allows you to showcase your learning and your expertise here in this area of digital disruption, digital transformation strategies. So, of course, those of you looking to springboard into career advancement opportunities, you'll certainly have a chance to do that here by showcasing your knowledge and your expertise and earning this credential here from the University of Cambridge Judge Business School. And this is a huge feature of the program. So beyond that learning that you'll gain here in the program, you do have a chance to build your career. What we know about today is that the skills that it takes to be successful in the modern workforce today have a shelf life of about 2.5 to 5 years. So that means the skills of today will be obsolete in about 5 years. We'll have a new set of skills that we need in order to thrive in the modern workplace. So certainly courses like this one here help us who are lifelong learners to help to build our career and really stay relevant here in the modern workforce. So that's what certificates like this allow us to do, continue upskilling, continue along that lifelong learning journey. So we're very glad to have you all here with us. Building our careers together, networking here in the program is a big part of what you'll be doing. So beyond the learning, earning a credential, but also building those relationships. So we know that relationships are a big part of what works well in an adult learning environment, really being able to crowdsource, to gain those insights and to share across with your colleagues. So here's a little bit about the peers here in the program and who you'll be collaborating with as you make your way through this program. You can see here you represent a vast array of countries here, 24% of you from the UK, others represent about 60%, with some of those top countries being South Africa, Switzerland, Malaysia, and Australia. So as you think about seeing these concepts here come to life, you're going to be able to build your skills around the needs of your organization, the role that you have, the challenges that you're working on here. You're going to be able to build build your learning around those things, but you're also going to be able to see your learning come to life through the eyes of your peers. So you're going to see these same concepts coming to life in other geographies, in other industry areas, in other professional roles, with other kinds of business challenges. So you're going to get that deep learning experience here in the program. But by learning from your colleagues, you're going to be able to really broaden your scope of understanding and see these concepts coming to life in a variety of different ways and in different areas. So it really helps to deepen and strengthen and broaden your knowledge, having this level of diversity here in the program. So beyond just geography, you're also work experience is sort of diverse. So the vast majority of you here are sort of mid-career and above, but you have folks who are just starting out. You have folks who are really at that mid-career manager, director level. And then you have those C-suite executives and leaders, as well as independent contributors and consultants here. Many different years of work experience coming together. So you're going to get those fresh perspectives. You're going to get those sort of mid-career learnings on how to mediate across for both leadership as well as driving teams. And then you're going to have the C-suite executives as well. So again, a way to really broaden and strengthen your learning as you see these concepts coming to life in a variety of different levels and professional roles. And then finally, of course, as mentioned, many different industries represented here. This program curriculum is designed to be what we call industry agnostic, meaning that we've designed the program to really apply across industries, across geographies, across different years of work experience, giving you the frameworks and tools that you need to apply the learning to your specific and individual circumstance. So that's what we have here represented. Many different industries. You're going to see these concepts coming to life in your industry, as well as others, from IT products to telecommunications, IT services, banking and financial services, consulting, a variety of different industries here represented as well. So all of that to say, the learning experience, if I were to sum it up, here in this program with 2 words, it's highly convenient. The ways in which this program is designed to allow you to build your own schedule and really work your learning around your professional lives. Highly convenient, and then interactive, highly interactive. You're going to build those relationships. You're going to learn from your colleagues and from one another, from your teaching team and your course faculty. So speaking about learning from course faculty, I now have the great honor and privilege of introducing today's speaker. Again, Professor Shaz Ansari here to tell us all about this program. Professor Ansari, I'm going to hand the spotlight over to you now to tell us about this framework, digital disruption, digital transformation strategies. So this is the framework that really sets the stage. Would love to hear more from you about the design of this program. Thanks again for being with us today.
Oh, even after all this Zooming, you forget to unmute yourself after all this years of COVID and forward. Thank you. Thank you, Marie, for that great introduction, and welcome again. I see that many people have joined in, and so I'm Shaz Ansari. I work as a professor of strategy and innovation at the Judge Business School. So as you know, in Cambridge, you always have a department affiliation, which is the business school, and then you have a college affiliation, which for me is St. Edmunds, and then there's a university overall affiliation that you get. So it's a very sort of collegiate structure at Cambridge. But here we actually, old 800 plus years old institution, collaborates with Emeritus in designing this course, which I think is a fantastic development. And we did this before COVID. So it was not a knee-jerk reaction to going digital because of COVID, but we have been doing this pre-COVID. So very proud of this collaboration that we could navigate, we could sort of, conduct, design, and deliver this course online. And we've been doing this for several years. And over the time, this is, of course, refined with your input, with you guys coming in with your experiences, your questions, your cases. And that's what enriches this. I've seldom had the opportunity to interact with such a wide, diverse group of people from all around the world. I mean, you get participants from Peru, from Malaysia, from Dubai, from Nigeria, from Singapore, Australia, I mean, it's literally every corner of the globe. So sometimes being in Europe, or in America, you get US-centric or European-centric. But what's nice for me and my fellow author on this, my fellow teacher on this, Professor Kamal Munir, is that we get to interact with people from not just Europe or America, but literally around the world. And they bring in their case studies. So we know that it's not Uber in Singapore, it's Gojek in Indonesia. What do we learn from these kinds of firms, and how is this firm in UAE that I'm studying in Dubai managing? It's an offline firm. How does it manage digital transformation? So we also conduct studies with companies, with organizations, both as part of executive education, like this program, but also as program of consulting alongside our regular teaching at Executive MBA. So this course puts together all these different experiences. So as you know, my colleague, my fellow teacher on this course is Professor Kamal Munir. He became also the Pro-Vice Chancellor of Cambridge University. I was telling you, it's a multi-structured place. So now he has to manage the managerial level of the university and disruptions and disruptive innovations at the university level. So it's not just our job; it's also our what we engage with you guys. And I can tell you how we designed this course. But the main crux of this session today is to give you a feel of why this is or not useful for you, right? So Murray and I, the idea of today is not just to flood you with the content, because this will be available to you. You can check this content. But the idea today is to see whether this is a fit with your professional development, with your organizational goals, with your personal goals. All of us, I think none of us are immune from disruption these days, whether we are a law firm, an insurance firm, in the banking industry, or what you name it, right? Or the education industry itself that I'm a part of. So there's no single industry that I know of that has been completely immune to digital developments. So I think it affects all of us. And the question is, how can this course enable you and give you skills to deal with disruption, to be the disruptor yourself, and to come up with innovative business models and strategies to navigate this field? So I'll just give you a few topics on what we have been doing in this, but I would like you to also put some questions to me, because this is interactive. So I would be happy to answer your questions as faculty, and Murray can answer all the administrative aspects, such as how this is structured, the course, how you assessed, for example, or what sessions you have to attend, how frequently. There's a lot of flexibility, as she mentioned. So that's the plus side in it. Content side of it, you can ask me, why are we covering some topics? What tools would you get? How will this equip you to understand digital transformation, digital disruption, and to also cope with it, manage it more effectively? So if you think about, digital disruption, dealing with disruption, is all kinds of companies, as I said, firms are affected by disruption. So how is it that some firms deal with it more effectively than others? There's something called the incumbent's dilemma, right? And that's an interesting concept, because right now we are seeing disruption live. We're literally seeing it as we speak with ChatGPT, as you know, and OpenAI and AI in general. And OpenAI's chat box with GPT-3 and now ChatGPT-4, which is part of Microsoft with its big investment, has been so disruptive in the sense of it's transforming every single sphere of life, in terms of jobs, in terms of skills, in terms of our use of time to be more efficient, to upgrade ourselves and what we spend our time on. So this is a live case, and I think it's an amazing context and at the moment to understand what disruption is and how to cope with it. What does it mean for you, ChatGPT, for example, if you still haven't leveraged it or integrated it in your organization? So I'm actually, I use ChatGPT myself in education, and I think it's a powerful tool. So I don't see it as my replacement. I see it as my co-pilot. I see it as my aid, a tool which can upgrade my teaching, upgrade my ability to share information more effectively, learn things faster, spend time on value add, not stuff that can be done and more automatically or can be automated. But the question then becomes is, in the disruption perspective, why is it that Google didn't become the leader? Google has been doing large language modeling for decades. It's the leader in that. It still has spent the most money in developing AI in the world. So why is it that it took a startup like OpenAI to launch ChatGPT? And of course, the question again comes to the fact that sometimes the perfect is the enemy of the good. So Google is a large company. It has more concerns for its reputation, or how the product would be received in the market. If it wasn't good enough, then it would hurt Google's reputation and its clients. So obviously they were more conservative in launching a product which they didn't feel 100% comfortable with. OpenAI is a startup. So they went ahead and launched it, and now they've had first mover advantages. And of course, you know that Google is trying to catch up with DeepMind merger with Bard and all kinds of other offerings. But it's an interesting battle going on. So why is it that startups can tend to be more disruptive? Why does it take banks? Why does it have to be Apple that is telling partnering with with JP Morgan to launch this bank account, which gives you 4.1% interest rate? It got $1 billion. It almost got $1 billion of deposits in 4 days. $1 billion in 4 days. So you can think, and the interesting thing about that partnership is that JP Morgan is taking more risks, and Apple is taking the nice bits out of it, that partnership. But I can share more interesting. So why is it that, if banking is being disrupted, if payments is being disrupted, and these tech firms like Apple are now part of the banking equation, then what should banks be doing? Should all banks be partnering with Google or Apple or other tech firms to serve their clients more effectively and really be digitally transformed? Should that be their strategy? Should they upgrade within their banks and start digital platforms and try to become more agile? ING and others have tried with digital banking and with the online models of transformation. So what is it that is the right way to deal with disruption? Should you partner? Should you do it yourself? Should you acquire? Should you be changing your internal processes, managing this within the organization? What are the different strategies in dealing with disruption? What work, what don't work? And we're going to be talking about this overall. Why is it that incumbents tend to suffer at times? It's not like they don't know disruption is coming, but they still tend to react late, or they're too wedded to their existing models or the existing businesses, which they are resistant to leaving or before they're completely out of business. So for example, automobiles, it wasn't the German companies that came up with electric vehicles first. Some took an outsider like Elon Musk and Tesla to start the EV as a viable alternative to petrol and diesel cars. Now, it hasn't happened overnight, we know that, but now all these car makers, whether it's VW, which also makes Audi, of course, whether it's even the likes of Mercedes, Daimler, whether it's BMW, all of them are scrambling to catch up, and they are catching up to some degree, but they didn't start EV. It's not like they didn't have electric technologies, right? So the electric vehicle technology was something that they could have also picked up, but they had their incumbent models. They still have petrol, diesel, internal combustion engines, and they wanted to maximize the revenue they can still generate from that paradigm. So because of that duality, that dual model, it's not like they can't see EVs coming, or they are unaware or unknowledgeable about electric vehicles. It's more that their transformation becomes difficult because they have something to lose. In this case, the petrol and diesel infrastructure, their factories and everything else. So what is it that makes, how is it that incumbents can get the timing right in terms of when do they make the shift? Because you don't want to lose money with your existing models, right? With something that you're still making money from. Like Kodak did that mistake with print digital photography. It just wanted to make money from film at a time when digital imaging was taking off. Now there was less money in digital imaging than film because you didn't keep selling film. As you do in the film world, you keep selling film and people keep buying films again and again. In the digital world, you never need film. So you don't print much. So those two source of revenues were just disappearing. So Kodak had digital technologies. The reason it didn't ship was because it was not incentivized. The managers wanted to maximize and elongate the length of time where they could still make money from selling film and expecting people to print their photographs. So we'll be covering this with different ways of dealing with disruption, both for incumbent firms as well as for disruptors. So sometimes, there's sometimes be the disruptor. Can you self-disrupt? And that's the question we often ask established organizations. And then this idea of platforms. I mean, this is something that is one of my research areas as well. What is this platform model? So it's not a new model. I think what we need to understand is that what's changed is in the digital world. So platforms have existed since centuries. I mean, a village fair is where people bring up their goods and services together, and then you and I have a choice of getting those things, buying those things. It connects two sides. It connects people with other people, buyers and sellers. So that was a platform, is a platform. But what's different about digital platforms is the speed, access, and the scalability. And that's changed something that offline platform models could not deliver. So we have a number of platform strategies. For instance, we're going to be doing case studies, and we're going to be doing actual exercises to understand what it means. Is it something for you? Is a platform strategy something you can adopt? Is it something that is feasible for you? Not every organization needs to become a platform, but we have seen phenomenal growth of organizations that have become platforms, and banking as an industry is adopting this model to more and more. It hasn't done so yet, but it knows that it needs to get into this direction in this digital transformation journey, because people like choice, people like connectivity, people like the fact that they have more a wider range of options to select from. So what are the different strategies? The bigger issue here is the chicken egg dilemma, right? How do you get one side unless you have the other side? So you've seen even companies like Microsoft fail in the mobile revolution because they couldn't get momentum behind Windows Mobile, despite being the leader of Windows, because they couldn't get people to sign up, because the big two leaders, as you know, are Apple iOS and Google's Android. And because they had over 98% of the share, there was very little incentive for people to switch. So even for a company like Microsoft, it couldn't solve the chicken and egg problem in the Windows Mobile smartphone industry. And it even had acquired Nokia. It had its phones. It had its own mobile operating system called Windows Mobile. Despite the strength of Microsoft, it failed in that endeavor. So chicken and egg is a difficult thing. I mean, if you are if you're a food delivery platform, if you're Uber or Didi, or how do you get people to sign up on one side unless you have people on the other side? And given that there's already an Uber, or already a Lyft, or already a Gojek, already a Careem, which is part of Uber now, how do you actually compete? I mean, why would people adopt or choose your platform if there's already a dominant platform present? And here we talk about different strategies, having a group of users that attract other users. So, for instance, in the case of Facebook, they got these university students to sign up on Facebook, which actually allowed attracted other students, universities from other Ivy League universities, to start joining Facebook. Eventually, a 5-person platform became a 2 million person platform over time, right? So scaling up is the main challenge in getting the chicken and egg past the chicken and egg problem, and what kind of users to attract initially is the other kind of challenge that you confront. One interesting example I think interesting is, so when we teach this case often on eHarmony, the matching platform rather, and imagine if you're trying to launch a platform for connecting people for relationships, then what should you be privileging? Should you be privileging dates or short-term relationships in which you'll get more turnover? Or should you be targeting those seeking long-term relationships and marriages, because then you'll have more reputational advantages and having more people speaking positively about you but then you might have lower turnover because they don't keep coming back and back again and again. So how do you choose what clients, what complementers you want on your platform? How does that affect your choice of what game you're playing, which comes from the world of strategy, obviously, but it's very important in platform strategies as well. Now, again, platform strategies is closely linked with business models, right? I mean, business models, and you could say platform model is kind of a business model. In platform strategies, we go into detail of platform strategies. In business models, we open this up to a wider range of traditional and new models, right? So we all know we sell products. We all know we sell goods. You buy an iPhone and you give me money, and I'm Apple. So I take money from you, I give you an iPhone. That's just selling you a product, right? But as you know, Apple doesn't just sell you a product. It also sells you all the apps that comes with it. So apps make money when you use them, and Apple makes money from the commissions those apps pay to Apple. And now you have Apple TV, and you have Apple Media, films, you have Apple Music, you have Apple Watch, you have Apple HomeKit. So you have all kinds of devices, IoT sort of logic. You also have services, and now they're entering healthcare. And as I just mentioned, they had $1 billion of deposits in 4 days in their foray into banking with JP Morgan. So what is the business model? Apple is an extreme case because it's following a product, solution, platform, and multi-sided model. So in business models, we'll be talking about these four: it's product, it's solutions, it's business, it's the platform model of multi-sided, and then the matchmaking model like Uber and Airbnb. To put it very, very simply, product model is I sell you a phone. Solution model is I give you a customized solution. So in that sense, it would be like professional service firms. Think about consulting firms like McKinsey. Think about law firms. Think about accounting firms. So these are the people who provide you customized solutions. So they're not selling you a product, because it's the same iPhone, whether you buy it or I buy it. It's a product, it's standardized. Whereas when it comes to professional services, they're customized. So if I'm a law firm, my solution to you would not be the same as the solution to your colleague. I have to design my solution as per your requirement. So many of us work in this solutions model where we customize the solutions for the client. We don't give them a standardized product. And then the third type is matchmaking, like Airbnb or Uber of the world. So they connect sites and they make money by connections across these two different sites, which have one is providing services, the other is using those services. So it's like a brokerage model, if you like. In the old world, we used to call it a brokerage model, and now we call it a market making or a matchmaking model. And the last one is multi-sided. We're going to talk more about this. Is that you have two sets of customers. So Facebook has one set of customers, let's say that's you and I, that use it for free. But as you know, there's no such thing as free. So then how does it monetize? Well, it monetizes right now with advertisers. So think about how ChatGPT will monetize. So ChatGPT at the moment has a subscription model, which means you pay, so you get onto the faster response rate, more data that you're allowed to input. So it's subscription because you need to subscribe and pay for those services. It's not using an advertisement business model, right? So will it switch to advertising? We don't know. Google search is again based on advertising as a business model, right? It gets money from advertisers, and you and I can use Google for free. So what business model works for you? Should you go for subscriptions? Should you go for advertising? What advice would you give to OpenAI ChatGPT, given that Microsoft has a big $10 billion investment in it? And the choice would depend on how do you expect to create and capture value? What would maximize value for your firm? And that should determine the choice of which business model you will adopt. So again, these different types of four types of business models, we'll be doing an exercise in them and figuring out which one can you adapt, which one can you mix and match, how can you create more value, and what kind of creative combinations can you make in order to create more value overall. Again, there's something on the challenges of adapting. So why is it so difficult for companies to adapt? And I think the main challenge, as I mentioned earlier, is that Companies know what the innovations are. They know what the disruptive technologies are, but why do they find it so difficult to adapt? And that's because of organizational issues, structural issues, old technology legacies, infrastructure that's already there, the challenge of aligning the new with the old. So we talk about, ambidextrous firms, the ones that can exploit as well as explore. Those adapt well. But the companies that get too much stuck in exploitation find it difficult to explore and unable to adapt when change is forced upon them. So you've seen that banks have struggled to adapt. You've seen that retail companies have struggled to adapt with the online change in consumer habits, and especially accelerated by COVID-19. So why is it that some companies adapt quicker and faster than other companies? What makes adaptation a skill set, in a way, a capability? And can you make your organization more adaptive, more agile, more speedy in its response to changing environmental conditions? How do you adapt, and how do you enable quicker adaptation within your organization, whether it's to a new technology, whether it's to a new business model, whether it's to any other change that's happening around you? And again, there are other topics. We have just listed them in these wider categories, but there's ecosystem evolution, which is kind of the word these days today, which is ecosystems have replaced industries. And what I mean by that is that if you think about Google or Apple or Amazon and these kinds of firms, what industry are they in? Is Apple a watch industry because it says the highest selling watch in the world now, the Apple Watch? Is it in the camera industry because one of the largest selling phones is the smartphone? Is it in the movie industry or media industry because it makes movies? Is it in the consumer electronics industry because it makes phones and TVs? Is it in the health industry because it has this app which it links up with health providers and healthcare solutions and become your kind of interface for managing your health? So is it a bank now, given that it's allows you to, it's part of the payment market? So what industry is Apple really in? And the answer is that no, it's not part of one industry. It's part of several overlapping industries that we call ecosystems. So that's a better conceptualization of describing what Apple is about. It's playing an ecosystem game. It's not playing an industry-specific game. So how do ecosystems evolve? What is your ecosystem strategy? Should you always be the focal point like Apple? Maybe that's not for you. Maybe you're better off serving as a complementer. For example, there is a company called Thrasio, which serves to develop other companies on the Amazon marketplace. It doesn't want to be an Amazon itself. What it wants to do is enable these resellers on Amazon to become more capable in selling, in marketing, so that they can actually increase their revenues, increase their profits. So it's becoming like a complementer of those complementers on Amazon. So what role do you play? If you're an Airbnb, you're the focal player, but maybe you're an insurance firm. You don't want to be an Airbnb, but you are the one that provides insurance for all these properties around the world that Airbnb uses for its business model. So what role do you play in the ecosystem? Depends on your organization and your capabilities and what is feasible for you to do or not to do. So what role should you play is something that we'll be answering in this question about ecosystems and ecosystem evolution. So Mari, let's also see if there are any questions from them. I mean, is there any, if they have, why don't they put something in the chat about this content? I've been speaking quite a bit to you, but you can also tell me in the chat if you're joining from somewhere and if you have any thoughts on these. Has anyone used ChatGPT in this group, by the way, so far in your organizations, or adapted them for your services or for your okay, so Raj is saying yes, and you find it useful, Raj? Maybe you don't need to give us exact details, but has it helped you incorporate this in helping you do tasks that are now more productive and efficient? Thank you, Raj, for sharing. Maybe you can tell us later if we get a chance how did you make productive use? So instead of saying this is a threat, you're seeing the opportunities in this for value creation and integration so that you can automate certain functions, enhance certain activities, standardize certain activities, and make them more efficient, right? So yes, any other comments that anyone has? Key to learn question is to ask, still getting my, yeah, exactly. Yes, it's skillful to know how to maximize the value. And you're right here, it's the way you ask questions, how you nudge, give it a task, give it a goal, tell who the audience is. So if I'm asking an academic paper feedback, I'll mention that this is an academic audience, so this is a practitioner audience. So the machine learning will try and pick up that information that actually would be more appropriate for the audience that I'm specifying. So all these questions will shape what kind of information you'll get in terms of your answering. So it's a great point, Raj. Asking the questions would really so what kind of questions you'll get in terms of asking these from different inputs, right? Thank you for putting this this chat question over there as well. Anybody else wants to share? Like Raj, just put up your comments. We are monitoring them as you speak. Yes, in the distinguished successful platforms, again, what the learning outcomes would be, what would be successful versus unsuccessful platforms, what makes a platform successful, why incumbents are unable to adapt to the changes and disruptions in the environment, predict how new ecosystems will evolve, which companies are likely to dominate them. Why is it that you might have, I don't know, the tech companies dominate banking rather than the banks dominate banking in the future? They're already dominating certain industries like retail that used to be dominated by the likes of traditional retailers like Macy and the type, right? So it's already changed in some industries. And can you predict this, if this will happen, for example, in other industries that have so far seeing more traditional players that are leading the field? Would you say new kinds of companies that will replace them or substitute them, or at least take huge parts of the value pie from them? Deal with the challenges associated with platforms and the strategies to deal with them. So what are the strategies that that platforms use? And we have a list of 9 or 10 strategies, which I won't list right now in the interest of not going into the specific details, but we'll have a specific set of strategies that we have identified from the literature as well as from practice, to see that you understand those challenges and see what works and what doesn't work, and how and when, under what conditions. As I just mentioned, the importance of ecosystems. So it's different when you're a new entrant and you're trying to enter an ecosystem. It's different when you're an established firm that you're trying to create or enter an ecosystem. So when Microsoft wanted to enter mobile smartphone industry, it was very difficult for Microsoft to, because it's an established firm, it couldn't replace the duopoly of Google and Apple. When a new entrant tries to enter it, again, it's difficult because it needs to fit into an ecosystem. So it gets pushback from the industry players, the incumbents. They resist, they fight back. They want to have something of their own. So when you're trying to create a new ecosystem, when you're trying to penetrate an ecosystem, what are the different strategies, and how do they differ, whether you're a startup firm, a new entrant, or an established firm with a history and track record? So, and finally, as I said, with the 4 types of business models and their combinations, we need to figure out how to design a business model, as well as to create value in creating combinations between product, solution, matchmaking, and multi-sided markets. So these are some of the, and we'll be using many case studies for this overall. If there are any other chats, Raj, do you have examples of how candidates have used these skills in the practical sense of their organization? Thank you. Do you collect feedback and stories post-course? Yeah, I mean, this is the whole point, right? I mean, the point of this course is not just to share with you the theories and the case studies. Those case studies and theories are meant to equip you with a sense of applying this in your context. So we have regular sessions, and Mike can speak to this, on how this learning goes back to you and your organization, and how this can then inform your strategizing within your context, within your industry overall. Mari, if you want to add something here.
Thank you so much, Professor Ansari, for being here and taking us through these learning outcomes, and certainly the framework that really designs the arc of learning here in the program. It's been an absolute honor learning more from you about this program. Thank you for putting it together. So I think at this point I'll just reiterate what you've said here. To our audience, please do put those questions in the Q&A box here as you think about this program. The reason you're here, as Professor Ansari mentioned earlier, is to really determine program fit. So, is this the right program for me? And so now is the chance, if you have any questions related to the design of this program, who it was intended for, any specific challenges you're working on, or anything like that at all, let us know here in the Q&A box. We'll address some of those questions here today. And otherwise, we'll follow up by email within 12 to 24 hours to provide you all with copies of today's recording, all of the slides here, and to follow up on any questions that we don't get a chance to answer during today's viewing. So a lot in store here for you as you think about beginning this program. Again, as we mentioned before, this is an interactive program. It's a deep skills building program, one that challenges you to take part in a variety of activities. There are video lectures, discussions, case studies, assignments. As we think about those case studies, here's just a few of them here. Dell, Netflix, Ryanair. Professor Ansari, any comments that you'd like to jump in here as we think about some of the case studies, Kodak, TiVo, eHarmony? I know you touched on some of these a moment ago, but any other components you'd like to highlight now?
Yeah, for Dell is again, it's great about how they disintermediated, took out the middlemen, if you like, and we see that now in airlines. We hardly buy tickets through travel agents. We buy directly from airlines or from these platforms such as Expedia or other kinds of aggregator platforms. Same goes for insurance. It's the companies that have been disintermediating others through this model that Dell pioneered, if you like. And then Netflix again became this big disruption in the movies business, and how it took on and disrupted Blockbuster, but it's not just disrupted by offering content and streaming later on, but it also became a content creator. So as you know, Netflix now makes its own programs, its own movies, its own documentaries, and now you have competition like Disney, which launched their own platform like Disney Plus and others that are competing like Netflix in the world of platforms rather than in the world of traditional media like Disney used to do historically. And Disney is still doing that, but Disney is also doing this platform model and has grown into millions of subscribers. So it's something like, as they say, disruptive strategy is always forward looking. So it's not what Netflix has done, but rather what we have learned from Netflix or Disney Plus from these cases that helps us navigate the future, the uncertainty going forward. So the idea of these case studies is not just the lessons learned from these cases, but what those insights tell you in terms of your own applications in your context, in your organization. Kodak, we again learned how it didn't adapt, and even though it was a leader in the digital technology. So why didn't it adapt, given that it had the technology? Because it was too tied or married to the old model of film photography, and that was a big obstacle in its transformation, even though it had the technology. So the idea that Kodak didn't transform was not because it lacked digital technology, but because its legacy infrastructure was an obstacle to accelerate the changes that it needed to make. I think TiVo will give you a nice account of the challenges that a new entrant faces in entering an ecosystem. Think about Spotify when they were new entrants. Think about any company when they were new entrants. So after hindsight is 2020. So I think what this case tells you is, in lifetime, what are the challenges when you're entering an ecosystem? Not looking backwards, but looking forward. And how do you deal with those challenges when you are entering a new ecosystem, especially as a startup firm without track record experience or considerable following or brand? I think eHarmony is again a great example of the third type of business model, the matchmaking platform. And how do you consider the rules of success, interaction? What trade-offs do you make? What kind of clients do you want on your platform? What does effective governance mean? What does misuse of information or miscasting your profile or other inaccurate information means on these kinds of platforms? How do you govern for those things that can spoil your reputation as well if you don't take enough? As you've seen in the case of Facebook and others, when they had governance weaknesses, it hurt their reputation. Billions of dollars were wiped off by Facebook's value. Now Meta and they've had to spend a lot of money trying to repair that reputation and make sure that people can still restore trust in these types of online media platforms. And eHarmony, you will uncover these challenges as well.
Yeah, that's terrific. And just to kind of echo a bit of what you said about case study analysis, it's a wonderful tool for those of you who've never been in a classroom that uses case study analysis. Again, as Professor Ansari was saying, we do go through a variety of different types of organizations, different sizes, different industries, and really what we're lifting here are those key learnings, those key frameworks that you can then apply to your challenges, your organization, your geography. So again, we really were thoughtful in the design of this program to ensure that we could develop a program that would make this learning accessible to our global audience in a way that's also practically applied in real time. So as you learn, you'll be able to, through a variety of assignments and other activities, really suss out your learning and in this sort of context of this cohort environment here in this program. So there's going to be application projects, quizzes, assignments, live question sessions with your teaching team, a lot of peer-to-peer learning, moderated discussion boards. So you can think of this like a thread on a certain topic. So let's say you get into the program and you discover a niche area of interest and you want more resources about that interest area. You can jump into a discussion thread. You can jump into a live office hour with your teaching team. And gain those resources that you need. So no two cohorts are alike. This is a highly individualized program, one where you're the driver of your own learning experience, and you very much get to set the stage and individualize your learning in a way that allows you to have that transformational impact that really marks the University of Cambridge Judge Business School and its mission here. So a lot of opportunities here. This is a 4 to 6 hour program per week. So as you make your way across these weeks here, these again are those topic weeks, those 8 modules. So as you make your way across these modules, you're looking to identify that 4 to 6 hours a week in your time zone around a schedule that works for you, where you can dive into some of those asynchronous components from week to week. Any of the synchronous learning, some of these live sessions that we talked about earlier, these faculty webinars and office hours, very much like today's session. If you're not there live in the moment, the recording will be offered in an on-demand context thereafter. So you'll be able to touch in, watch that webinar, take part in those office hours in an asynchronous and on-demand fashion. So this program is really designed to be flexible. Even those live sessions, if you're not able to attend, we give you that simulated live experience for the remainder of your time in the program. So, a lot in store here. Again, there's that certificate I showed you earlier that you have a chance to earn really to showcase your learning and certify your expertise in this area of digital disruption. You'll see here in the chat box, if you haven't done so already, if you want to learn more about this program, we invite you to go over to the course landing page. There's a link in the chat box. You can use your smartphone if you have one. You can put it right up there and grab that QR code, or you can use the link there on your screen. But the next steps for you here as you think about this program is to go over to the course page. There's going to be a couple of things you can do there on the course page. Firstly, you can apply for the program. If you haven't done so already, you can start that application. If you still need to sort of dive deeper, learn more, there's 2 other things you can do there on the course page. You can download the full course brochure. So it's a beautifully designed and comprehensive overview of this program. It'll give you everything you need to know about the curriculum and the learning experience. You can go ahead and get yourself a copy of that brochure and study ahead. And then the second thing you can do is schedule a one-on-one appointment with a program advisor. Our program advisors, they're here with us live now. Many of you have put questions in the chat, and you're getting those responses from program advisors who are here supporting the session today. You can schedule a one-on-one appointment 1 click away from the course website. Select a time that works for you, and you'll get that 30-minute phone call with one of our advisors. And they can walk you through a variety of questions you might have. When does the course begin? When are those live faculty sessions? You might have questions related to the educational credits for this program or other extended learning opportunities. You might have questions about how the program is evaluated and how you earn that certificate of completion. All of those policy and registration and enrollment questions can be answered by program advisors. So if you still need more support as you seek to begin this program, please do schedule that appointment there with a program advisor over on the course website, where you can also begin that application process. So if you haven't taken this away already, I hope what you have taken away from this webinar here today is that you will get the support that you need in this program. Every step of your learning journey is supported by a team of caring professionals, industry experts, as well as faculty and research experts here, all helping to deliver the incredible wealth of knowledge here at the University of Cambridge Judge Business School to an audience that's global and accessible from around the world. So we're so pleased to launch this program once again, and we hope that you'll join us and begin that application. I don't see any more questions there in the Q&A box, so we're going to wrap up today's session. Professor Ansari, I would love to invite you back in one final time for any words of wisdom, words of advice, or a final send-off to those who are considering joining this program just around the corner.
Again, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for joining us. Yes, I think as I would like you to sort of our philosophy at the business school, which we follow intently, is lifelong learning. So we consider learning to be lifelong and a continual process. It's not an outcome, but so I think all of you would be joining this program because you also believe in that principle of lifelong learning. And with more and more disruptive strategies, disruptive innovations, technologies, whether it's AI or blockchain or quantum computing or business models or geopolitical changes around the world, we all have to deal with change. And I think the more we equip ourselves with dealing with change, the better off we are in terms of coping with change and also driving change. So I feel like lifelong learning is something we all believe in this program. Together, we can accomplish this mission.
Wonderful. Thank you again, Professor Ansari, for your words of wisdom, for your guidance, and again, for designing this program and being here to tell us all about it. For those of you in the audience, thank you again for joining. A great honor learning shoulder to shoulder with each and every one of you. We hope to see you back in this program or another open learning session such as this one. So stay tuned for more. We'll be following up within about a day or so with copies of today's recording and everything you need to take that next step to apply to this program. Thank you all for joining. We sign off now with a heartfelt good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day to all of you from around the globe. Thanks again for joining, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye.
Bye.